Hello everyone and welcome to the Bible Words channel. Today we will be looking at the very first word of the Old Testament found in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, which every single English translation I've run across translates as "in the beginning." The word that is used here is Reshith. Strong's H7225 is the reference. Says that the word occurs 51 times in the Old Testament. And let's have a look at some of the examples where it is used elsewhere. Psalm 111 verse 10 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 1 verse 7 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Notice here how knowledge and wisdom both begin with the fear of the Lord. Also notice that the word wisdom appears in both of these verses. Wisdom, knowledge, teaching, and action are all related to each other, and they all begin with the fear of the Lord. Psalms and Proverbs says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of something. Ecclesiastes 7 verse 8 says this, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof." The New Living Translation says, "Finishing is better than starting. Patience is better than pride." The implication here is that the beginning of something starts a process, and the end of it is the best part of it. But first you have to start with something before you can achieve the result. If we have a look at Job, at the very beginning of the testing of Job, the enemy came to God and said, "Put forth your hand now, touch all that Job has, and he will curse you to your face." But throughout the entire book, Job never cursed God. So that was the test. Throughout all his problems, Job never cursed God. And as a result, he was blessed at the end of it. So he had more than in his beginning. That same word, Reshith, shows up there. Another way that this word is used is by describing the beginning of a king's reign. For instance, Jeremiah 26, 27, and 28 describe three different events that happened at the beginning of a king's reign. Another way that this word is used when it talks about the harvest. In Deuteronomy 26, for instance, in verse 2 it says, "You shall take the first of all the fruit of the earth." In verse 10 of the same chapter it talks about having brought the first fruits of the land. That word first fruits is actually two Hebrew words, the first of the first fruits. So it's the beginning of a process of the harvesting of the season. Let's look at some of the observations regarding this particular word. Every time it is used, there is an implication that it is the beginning of a process that takes time to complete. The trials of Job, the gathering of a harvest, the reign of a king or queen, the fear of the Lord. Likewise, the creation of the world marks the beginning of something. It is not a one-off single event. Here are two more observations about the word Reshith. It may be that only when the final events take place that the full lessons can be learned or understood. In the case of Job, what the enemy expected did not take place. Job never cursed God, and he received a blessing for it as a result. Beginning with the fear of the Lord will lead each of us maybe in totally different directions, and it will only be in hindsight that the lessons and blessings will be fully revealed and understood. Only in the fall will the spring's first of the first fruits be fully appreciated when you look at the results of the harvest. A king is not judged by how he started his rule, but on the entirety of his reign. So stepping forward in the beginning requires faith that the results will be worth it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. John chapter 1 clearly states that in the beginning, Jesus Christ was involved in that creation. And that beginning led to the salvation work of Jesus Christ. Let's have a look at some of the observations from the previous slide. It may be that only when the final event takes place that the full lessons can be learned or understood. In the case of Jesus Christ, it was his death on the cross, his resurrection, and his offer of salvation to you and me. Stepping forward in the beginning requires faith that the results will be worth it. Even Jesus struggled with this in the Garden of Gethsemane. Here are some concluding questions. Do you recall vividly the beginning of your walk with God, the moment of your salvation? Remember, salvation is an instant in time, but your walk with God is a process. Salvation was the beginning, but your walk with God to the end is a process. And in that process, what has God laid on your heart to accomplish, to learn, and to experience? This is the heart of the matter when you begin your walk with God. There is always an ending somewhere and a lesson to be learned in the process. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button to this channel. Links of the material I used are posted below. Also, I may have to add this in future videos as well. I did not use an AI chatbot to create the content of this video. Thank you for watching.